Lastly, let's discuss the last story, the last chapter in Sonic Adventure 2's saga, which is lastly getting the last coverage it lastly deserves, due to many people firstly disregarding its truths. So today, let's explore truths others ignored about the last story lastly. And starting us off in Canon's core, we have Tails. His section of the core is honestly nothing we haven't seen before other than the introduction of time-stopping switches. Though, with the whole section feeling nothing more than a tutorial for these switches, clearly Sega is foreshadowing how Tails' post-game will become a professor in time-stop mechanics. Luckily, Eggman's section quickly starts getting interesting, with most platforming sections involving a maze of cubes flowing linearly, creating one of the most interesting mech platforming sections. However, the sheer volume of blocks in this section implied the devs were throwing shade at Eggman by calling him a blockhead. Why such vulgar behavior was allowed at Sega is unknown, but sadly this makes it canon. While Eggman and Tails just needed to bust open some doors, Rouge needs to drain some excess liquid into a cylindrical room by climbing all over 4 cylindrical pillars and touching time-stop balls. And while saying Rouge's task out loud makes the devs seem questionable, they actually dispelled this questionable notion by making it so during Rouge's last section, digging is not required, meaning that clearly we are digging too much into this and they weren't trying to allude to anything with this level. Knuckles' section is all based around getting soaked in the liquid Rouge just unleashed, but while we are submerged in this fluid, we notice that in many rooms the top and bottom of them are electrified, clearly implying that no matter how drenched Knuckles is, he's immune to the electricity flowing through this fluid. And the final section in Canon's core is Sonic's turf, but unfortunately, it actually discourages you to go fast. This is due to the immense stress many feel after the gauntlet of character sections prior, with one too many mistakes leading to a game over, causing you to restart the entire stage. But in a weird twist, this actually makes the player feel exactly how Sonic is feeling in this moment, sharing his stress as he rushes into the Canon's core. And speaking of this section, the slide portion of Sonic's turf is very misunderstood. Many people think this was just a fun little stage mechanic, but actually this sliding action is the precursor to the somersault we use to squeeze through gaps. The reason cited for its replacement was to prevent the movement from feeling too slippery. Shadow's fight versus his brother the Biolizard is usually praised for its intensity, but with all the praise, many skip over all the repercussions of Shadow being the brother to the Biolizard. With how unstable the Biolizard's power is, clearly he must have lost control of it long ago, suggesting that the Biolizard originally was a hedgehog until he lost control, alluding that if Shadow ever loses grip on his power, he could turn into a lizard as well. This weirdly also implies Shadow can lay eggs, but you know, that's... Nah, yeah, broken legs. And lastly, we're at the final boss, which is the Biolizard on a shish kebab. But while physically the lizard hasn't changed much, clearly he is stronger than when Shadow faced him. So what exactly is enhancing his strength? You may think the Arc is fueling his new power, but the real reason the Biolizard becomes so strong is actually due to the norepinephrine, adrenaline, and endorphins being impaled activated. And speaking of this fight, originally Sonic and Shadow were supposed to have a distinct smell when they transform. This was due to Sega experimenting with a smell-o-vision controller attachment for the Dreamcast, which funnily enough gave Super Sonic and Super Shadow a lemon aroma. And that is the end of the truth behind Sonic Adventure 2. If you enjoyed, you know what to do.